Kennedy.
Oh,
Oh, whoops. Hey, Dave Kennedy.
hi, how are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm fabulous. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, it is. We finally broke the summer heat, so I'm in a great mood.
I know I saw a funny meme that said something like, "Oh, summer just clocked out." They were like,
Yep,
"Oh, done."
yep, yep. I'll take it.
I
So
know. Okay, the reason why I wanted to talk to you about this, so if, for those of you who probably know Dave Kennedy, he is the owner operator of Fidelity Land Title, which is
mhm,
over in Montgomery. Of course, they
yep,
serve the whole greater Cincinnati and several states as well.
correct.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason I wanted to get on here is, and you helped out with this just this past Monday, was I had a former client. She bought a house about a year ago, and she sent me a text that said, "Hey, how much of a concern?" I'm going to read you the text actually. How much of a concern is people stealing home titles?
Yeah.
She keeps hearing commercials for home title lock. And I
Hmm.
thought, oh, this is really interesting because I have never heard this commercial.
Yeah.
And I knew that when she bought the house about a year ago, that they did buy the owner's policy of title. And I
Hmm.
thought, well, that sounds like a similar thing, but let me check with Dave. So I
Yeah.
did an email to you with her on it. And actually, it was really interesting. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about it. First of all, can people steal home titles?
Yes. Yeah, it's a very real thing. So essentially, usually what they're doing is they're looking for people that have bought properties with cash where there's no lien. Because typically, if you have a loan on your property, there's going to be a lien in first lien position. So anyone that goes to sell that house, whether real or fraudulent, has to pay off the bank in
Right.
order to do that. So if you have a mortgage, it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to steal your house because you have to pay off your mortgage and then whatever they're going to get left. So they're looking for properties that were purchased with cash with no liens against the property. And
Okay.
essentially what they do is they just they create a fake deed, pretend to be the homeowner and transfer the property to a fraudulent either buyer, a straw buyer, or even an unsuspecting buyer. And then they take the money and they're gone.
Yeah.
So
I
this
do hear
home,
these stories sometimes where, like, the people who are buying the house show up to the house and there's already somebody living there.
right.
You're like, what? And they're like, no, we bought this house. And it's like,
Yeah.
"You didn't."
Yeah, it could be, especially nowadays with when you have investors from around the country buying properties sight unseen. They could even take pictures from a listing years ago of that house and mimic, the photos. And like I said, we used to usually only see it, with like the snowbirds, people that would go down south for the winter and their houses were unoccupied.
Right.
People could break into the house, change the locks on it, do the fake deed, that type of stuff. But essentially it does happen. So this home title lock, what they do is just a service that monitors the stuff that you can monitor on your own on the public record at the recorder's office and the auditor's office. And they're just looking for changes in title, new documents recorded in your chain of title, all that stuff you can do on your own, actually, on the,
Yeah.
on the county's website. And that's pretty much all they do. And then they alert you if there's been some type of change, and then
So
you
it's
can call the
almost like
police.
a security system for
Mhm.
your title. So
Right.
it would be like the Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
there's
a.
somebody looking suspicious outside
Mhm.
your house who might be stealing a package off your porch. That doesn't mean that you're going to be able, that Ring doorbell is not going to stop that person
Right.
from
It's going to
stealing
alert
a
you.
package. It's just alerting you to it.
Yeah.
So
And
that's what the home title lock is.
yeah, and I don't know if they give any type of guarantee or anything, but the bottom line, it's very doesn't really do a whole lot. Your
Limited.
owner's title insurance covers so much more than just a fraudulent change in title. Your homeowner's insurance, our owner's policy that people purchase at closing is going to protect your chain of title against a whole bunch of different things. Not only something like that, but also any fraudulent type of liens against your property, or any pretty much any fraud against the property, is going to cover your homeowner's owner's policy of title insurance protects so much more than that,
Okay,
in
so
addition to it.
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second, only because I want people to understand the difference between, because you've used homeowners and I know people are
Yeah.
going to get confused.
Yes.
So homeowners insurance is the policy that you purchase to protect your house from fire and flood and that sort of stuff.
Correct.
The home title insurance or owner's policy of title is what protects the actual title
Right.
of the home. So you own it, there's a deed in your name, and this owner's title insurance covers you against anything that might come up against the title. So for example, somebody trying to steal the title.
Yep.
I've also heard like of examples where somebody, when they were getting ready to sell their house, they got new windows in their house, $20,000 worth of windows in their house, and they financed the windows and then neglected to pay, and it didn't get paid off at closing. So now that window bill goes to the next owner, regardless of who bought the windows. It goes to the next owner. And so that becomes a problem for the next owner. But if you have title insurance and it's like, oh, hey, I didn't buy those windows that was not me.
Yep. Any lien against your property. So that property, people always think about it as the house. Really, the owner's title insurance policy is actually for that land that your house is as attached to. So it's your right to access and use that land. Every time that property had ever been transferred from one person to the next person to the next person, it had to be done correctly. If it wasn't done correctly, theoretically, somebody could have an interest in your property, either a prior owner or a prior lien owner. Somebody's mortgage didn't get paid off 2 owners prior towards you. Technically, that bank still has a lien against your property. And yes, you're right. Whoever owns that property at that time is responsible for any liens against the property. Right. So the homeowners and the title, not homeowners insurance, your owner's title insurance policy will protect your interest in that property.
And the nice thing about the owner's title policy is that it protects the house or the title on the house for as long as you own it. This
Correct.
is pay for it one time.
Yeah.
So this is not a yearly thing. Homeowners insurance, you pay for it yearly, you renew it yearly.
Right.
Maybe you make changes in the policy. Owner's title insurance protects it. Once you buy it, it's there for the life of the time, the time that you own that property.
Yeah. And it actually will theoretically even cover you after you bought the property or after you sold the property as well. So every time that you sell a piece of property, you sign a warranty deed, and you're making certain warranties to the buyer that you've got clear and clean title. So theoretically, even if you sold your property and it's been sold 3 more times after you've sold it, they could go back and keep suing against the prior owner until they get to somebody. But if you have a policy in place, it'll protect you. So even after you sold the property, it could still theoretically protect you. So it's just a very robust insurance policy that you hope you never have to use. But if you do need it, it is an absolute lifesaver. Buying a home is the biggest purchase you're going to make in your life, unless you maybe own a mega yacht. And other than that, so it just makes sense for you to be able to protect that because, like I said, it's a huge investment for you,
right?
Whether you're getting a loan or paying cash.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, if you're buying a $250,000, $300,000 property, owner's title insurance is going to cost you,
couple $1,000, yeah.
dollars. In the grand scheme of all that, like this is what I always tell my buyers. I say, you know what? Even though it's super rare that these things come up, when they do, they're huge.
Yes.
They're not something small. They're not, hey, you got a backup in your basement of water. Yeah, that sucks. And it's going to cost you $25,000. This could cost you your house. It could cost you your house.
It absolutely devastating. Some of the sad things you hear, in the industry of, fraud, just stuff that's even just misindexed. People make mistakes all the time. And if something's not recorded properly, you're in trouble.
You're perfect, right?
Yeah, not us. So, but again, like it's in the owner's policy, and sometimes people get confused. If you're getting a loan, you're going to have to get a lender's policy, but it's an option to add the owner's policy. And we offer that at a discounted price. So sometimes people will say, oh, well, the lender already has it, so I don't need it. That does not extend any coverage to you as the actual owner.
Right.
The likelihood of the lender using their policy is very slim. It's going to come back to you as the owner. So
that lender's policy only protects the lender.
Correct.
It doesn't protect you.
Zero coverage to you as the buyer.
Right. So you get that additional, the additional owner's title policy.
And you get it at a major discount. So, and then anyone that's out there that's bought a home and they're like, well, what do I need to, should I get home title lock? I don't think I bought an owner's policy at the time of closing. You can still buy it after closing.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit more work that goes into. We'll have to do an exam of your property to bring it current, but you can still get it after you've purchased it.
Right.
You just don't get that discount that you
Right.
get it at closing.
But it's still worth it. It's still not a crazy amount. Like,
No.
it's not the difference between $1,000 and $5,000.
Yep.
Usually only a couple $100. That's
Yep.
the difference. Maybe $1,000. That's a difference between buying it when you actually purchase the property or later down the line after you've already purchased it.
So we've had investors come back through and be like, hey, I heard about this nightmare. I want to get it on all 5 of my properties. And you can do it. It's just easier to take care of it while you're buying
Right.
your property. And so it's good to always trust a great realtor like Amber, and she'll explain it to you. And then you can always ask us, and we can always go into it further with you. There's information on our website, fidelitylandtitle.com/insurance, and it breaks down what title insurance is.
And when I post this, I'll put a link to that, like in the comments too,
Yeah.
so if people want to look it up or if they have any additional questions. So, Dave, as always, you're always just full of wisdom beyond your young years.
Well, I'm glad to spread the gospel about title insurance.
Good. I'm glad too. Also, I appreciate it. Thank you. And by the way, I want to say this real quick. When realtors are giving you that advice to choose the title insurance, just know we're not getting any kind of a kickback from this.
Yep.
We don't get any money. The title company doesn't reimburse us,
Mhm.
nothing like that. We're doing it because we care about our clients, and we're recommending something that we feel is important.
Yep.
So I just want to put that out there because sometimes people think, oh, you must be getting something. Nope, not getting anything except peace of mind, knowing that I'm sleeping well because I gave you the correct information and I'm recommending something that's important.
Correct. Yeah. And the problem is we've seen situations where not us in particular, but somebody will call back and there's some type of claim, and it's like, do you have insurance or not? And then it's been explained, and you kind of get what you pay for, just
Yeah.
like anything else in life.
Yep, exactly. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having me, and everyone have a
Absolutely.
great
We'll talk
day.
again.
All right. Great.